Welcome to the lecture on Introduction to International Business, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand globalization, discuss about factors influencing globalization, describe advantages and disadvantages of globalization, explain risks in international business, discuss participations in international business. Let's start with a brief introduction to the topic. Introduction to International Business. International business refers to a wide range of business activities undertaken across national borders. International business is different from domestic business. At the international level, the globalization of the world economy and the differences between countries present both opportunities and challenges to international businesses. International business gives access to products and services from around the world and profoundly affects the quality of life and economic well-being. The growth of international business activity coincides with the broader phenomenon of globalization of markets. The globalization of markets refers to the ongoing economic integration and growing interdependency of countries worldwide. Globalization. Economic globalization refers to the increasing integration of economies around the world, particularly through the movement of goods, services, and capital across borders. The term sometimes also refers to the movement of people, labor, and knowledge, technology across international borders. There are also broader cultural, political, and environmental dimensions of globalization. Globalization has become the buzzword that has changed human lives around the world in a variety of ways. It refers to the free cross-border movement of goods, services, capital, information, and people. It is a process of creating networks of connections among actors at multi-continental distances, mediated through a variety of flows including people, information and ideas, capital, and goods. Globalization refers to the intensification of cross-national economic, political, cultural, social, and technological interactions that leads to the establishment of transnational structures and the integration of economic, political, and social procession on a global scale. The forces behind globalization. Now let's discuss the following. There are 7 interrelated factors that have contributed to the spiraling growth in globalization. 1. Increase in and expansion of technology. Vast improvements in transportation and communications technology, including the development of the Internet, have significantly increased the effectiveness and efficiency of international business operations. 2. Liberalization of cross-border trade and resource movements. Over time, most governments have lowered restrictions on trade and foreign investment in response to the expressed desires of their citizens and producers. In addition, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, the development of economic blocs such as the European Union and other such facilitating mechanisms have provided increased access to many foreign markets. 3. Development of services that support international business. Services provided by government, banks, transportation companies, and other businesses greatly facilitate the conduct and reduce the risks of doing business internationally. 4. Growing consumer pressures. Because of innovations in transportation and communications technology, consumers are well informed about and often able to access foreign products. Thus, competitors all over the world have been forced to respond to consumers' demand for increasingly higher quality, more cost-competitive offerings. 5. Increased global competition. The pressures of increased foreign competition often persuade firms to expand internationally in order to gain access to foreign opportunities and to improve their overall operational flexibility and competitiveness. 6. Changing political situations. The transformation of the political and economic policies of the former Soviet Union and the People's Republic of China has led to vast increases in trade between those countries and the rest of the world. In addition, the improvements in national infrastructure and the provision of trade-related services by governments the world over have further led to substantial increases in foreign trade and investment levels. 7. Expanded cross-national cooperation. Governments have increasingly entered into cross-national treaties and agreements in order to gain reciprocal advantages for their own firms, to attack problems jointly that one country cannot solve alone, and to deal with areas of concern that lie outside the territory of all countries. Dimensions of economic globalization. The rapid growth in integration and interdependence of economies can be explained by the interconnectedness of the various dimensions of economic globalization, such as the globalization of production, markets, competition, technology, and corporations and industries. Globalization of production. The increased mobility of the factors of production, especially the movement of capital, has changed countries' traditional specialization roles significantly. Such specialization have given rise to intra-industry trade between developing countries. Globalization of markets. Marketing gurus in the last 2 decades have extensively argued over customized marketing strategies in the globalization of markets. Technology as the most powerful force has driven the world towards converging commonality. Globalization of competition. This refers to the intensification of competition among business enterprises on a global scale. Such globalization of competition has resulted in the emergence of new strategic transnational alliances among companies across the world. Globalization of technology. The rapid pace of innovations with international networks and convergence of standards across countries has contributed to the globalization of technology. This rapid dissemination of technology internationally and the simultaneous shortening of the cycles of production has led to the globalization of technology. Globalization of corporation and industries. The worldwide economic liberalization led to the rapid growth in FDIs and the relocation of business enterprises, heavily driven by the various forms of international strategic alliances and mergers and acquisitions across the world. As a result, there has been widespread rise in the fragmentation of production processes, whereby different stages of production for a given product are carried out in different countries. Factors influencing globalization. The process of globalization is characterized by the interplay of dynamic forces that act as movers and restraining factors, which offer significant challenges to traditionally established ways of doing businesses. Movers of globalization. Economic liberalization. Economic liberalization, both in terms of regulations and tariff structure, has greatly contributed to the globalization of trade and investment. Technological breakthroughs. The breakthroughs in science and technology have transformed the world virtually into a global village, especially manufacturing, transportation, and information and communication technologies. Manufacturing technology. Technological advancements transformed manufacturing processes and made mass production possible, which led to the Industrial Revolution. Transportation technology. The advance in all means of transports by roads, railways, air and sea have considerably increased the speed and brought down the costs incurred. This has boosted the movement of people and goods across countries. Information and communication technology. The advent of information and communication technology and the fast developments in the means of transport have considerably undermined the significance of distance in country selection for expanding business. There has been a considerable reduction in international telecommunication costs due to improved technology and increased competition. Factors restraining globalization. Regulatory controls. The restrictions imposed by national governments by way of regulatory measures in their trade, industrial, monetary and fiscal policies restrain companies from global expansion. Emerging trade barriers. The integration of national economies under the WTO framework has restrained countries from increasing tariffs and imposing explicit non-tariff trade barriers. However, countries are consistently evolving innovative marketing barriers that are WTO compatible. Management myopia. A number of well-established business enterprises operating indigenously exhibit little interest in expanding their business overseas. Advantages and disadvantages of globalization. Following are some advantages and disadvantages of globalization. Advantages of globalization. Globalization lets countries do what they can do best. If, for example, you buy cheap steel from another country, you do not have to make your own steel. Globalization gives you a larger market. You can sell more goods and make more money. You can create more jobs. Consumers also profit from globalization. Products become cheaper and you can get new goods more quickly. Increased free trade between nations. Increased liquidity of capital, allowing investors in developed nations to invest in developing nations. Corporations have greater flexibility to operate across borders. Global mass media ties the world together. Increased flow of communications allows vital information to be shared between individuals and corporations around the world. Greater ease and speed of transportation for goods and people. Reduction of cultural barriers increases the global village effect. Spread of democratic ideals to developed nations. Greater interdependence of nation states. Reduction of likelihood of war between developed nations. Increases in environmental protection in developed nations. Disadvantages of globalization. Globalization causes unemployment in industrialized countries. Globalization may lead to more environmental problems. Globalization can lead to financial problems. Some of the poorest countries in the world, especially in Africa, may get even poorer. Human, animal, and plant diseases can spread more quickly through globalization. Increased flow of skilled and non-skilled jobs from developed to developing nations as corporations seek out the cheapest labor. Increased likelihood of economic disruptions in one nation affecting all nations. Corporate influence of nation states far exceeds that of civil society organizations and average individuals. Threat that control of world media by a handful of corporations will limit cultural expression. Greater chance of reactions for globalization being violent in an attempt to preserve cultural heritage. greater risk of diseases being transported unintentionally between nations, spread of a materialistic lifestyle and attitude that sees consumption as the path to prosperity. International bodies like the World Trade Organization infringe on national and individual sovereignty, increase in the chances of civil war within developing countries and open war between developing countries as they vie for resources, decreases in environmental integrity as polluting corporations take advantage of weak regulatory rules in developing countries. Risks in international business. Internationalizing firms are routinely exposed to four major types of risk: cross-cultural risk, country risk, currency risk, and commercial risk. The four risks are: cross-cultural risk. It refers to a situation or event where a cultural miscommunication puts some human value at stake. Cross-cultural risk is posed by differences in language, lifestyles, mindsets, customs, and/or religion. Country risk. It, also known as political risk, refers to the potentially adverse effects on company operations and profitability caused by developments in the political, legal, and economic environment in a foreign country. Country risk includes the possibility of foreign government intervention in firms' business activities. Currency risk. It, also referred to as financial risk, refers to the risk of adverse fluctuations in exchange rates. Fluctuation is common for exchange rates or the value of one currency in terms of another. Currency risk arises because international transactions are often conducted in more than one national currency. Commercial risk. It refers to the firm's potential loss or failure from poorly developed or executed business strategies, tactics, or procedures. Managers may make poor choices in such areas as the selection of business partners, timing of market entry, pricing, creation of product features, and promotional themes. Participations in international business. Among the most important are focal firms, the firms that directly initiate and implement international business activity. There are two types of focal firms in international business. One, the multinational enterprise MNE. Multinational enterprises, also known as multinational corporations, have historically been the most important type of focal firm. A multinational enterprise is a large company with substantial resources that performs various business activities through a network of subsidiaries and affiliates located in multiple countries. One of the hallmarks of MNEs is that they tend to carry out R&D, procurement, manufacturing, and marketing activities wherever in the world it makes most economic sense. In addition to a home office or headquarters, the typical MNE owns a worldwide network of subsidiaries. It collaborates with numerous suppliers and independent business partners abroad, sometimes termed affiliates. 2. Small and medium-sized enterprise SME. Many small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, participate as well. With the globalization of markets, advances in various technologies, and other facilitating factors, more and more SMEs are pursuing business opportunities around the world. SMEs account for about 1/3 of exports from Asia and about 1/4 of exports from the affluent countries in Europe and North America. Firms pursue internationalization strategies. Firms pursue internationalization strategies for a variety of reasons. Firms often have more than one motive for international expansion. 9 specific motivations include: 1. Seek opportunities for growth through market diversification. Internationalization can also extend the marketable life of products or services that have reached their maturity in the home country. 2. Earn higher margins and profits. Competition is often intense, forcing firms to get by on slim profit margins. 3. Gain new ideas about products, services, and business methods. Unique foreign environments expose firms to new ideas for products, processes, and business methods. 4. Better serve key customers that have relocated abroad. In a global economy, many firms internationalize to better serve clients that have moved into foreign markets. 5. Be closer to supply sources, benefit from global sourcing advantages, or gain flexibility in the sourcing of products. Companies in extractive industries such as petroleum, mining, and forestry establish international operations where these raw materials are located. 6. Gain access to lower cost or better value factors of production. Internationalization enables the firm to access capital, technology, managerial talent, labor, and land at lower costs, higher quality, or better overall value at locations worldwide. 7. Develop economies of scale in sourcing, production, marketing, and R&D. Economies of scale refer to the reduction of the per unit cost of manufacturing and marketing due to operating at high volume. 8. Confront international competitors more effectively or thwart the growth of competition in the home market. International competition is substantial and increasing, with multinational competitors invading markets worldwide. The firm can enhance its competitive positioning by confronting competitors in international markets or preemptively entering a competitor's home market to destabilize and curb its growth. 9. Invest in a potentially rewarding relationship with a foreign partner. Joint ventures or project-based alliances with key foreign players can lead to the development of new products, early positioning in future key markets, or other long-term profit-making opportunities. Summary. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learnt in this lecture. Firms organize, source, manufacture, market, and conduct other value-adding activities on an international scale. Globalization both compels and facilitates companies to pursue cross-border business activities and international expansion. Services provided by government, banks, transportation companies, and other businesses greatly facilitate the conduct and reduce the risks of doing business internationally. Internationalization can also extend the marketable life of products or services that have reached their maturity in the home country. Country risk also includes laws and regulations that potentially hinder company operations and performance.